Things Podcast.
Is that a fucking dead Death Star in the middle of an ocean?
It certainly is, and you know what? That's just how we're going to start. Yes, that is a dead fucking Death Star in the middle of the ocean. Now,
how is that even possible?
Honestly, there's a lot in here that's how is that even possible? But it's okay because I'd rather have
mystery.
For a teaser like this, I'd rather have tons and tons of stuff that leaves me with lots of questions.
Yeah.
Because that's much more interesting.
I agree. It's definitely full of questions.
Yeah.
It's definitely full of questions.
Yes, we just got to that part. I've just got the trailer on repeat going right here. And first of all, this is how I woke up today, because I've been on, how my shifts go back and forth, and I woke up with a message from our pal Red Ranger that said, "Hey, everybody, watch this." And it was a link to the live stream from... Celebration, and hang on, I think I'm not muted anymore.
I can hear you.
I don't know what that was, but it was a link to the live stream from Celebration, and I was like, oh cool, I'll check that out, because fortunately if I was at work I wouldn't have been able to watch it. So I wake up, and the first thing I see when I wake up today is the teaser trailer for Episode 9, which is called, Chad, what is it called?
The Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with the hesitant questioning you finished that statement with.
I mean, yeah, it's not that it's not cool. Here's my only issue with it is I think a moratorium should have been put on the rise of anything about 5 years ago, if not longer. I agree. I wish it had used it kind of did. I'm actually, one of the reasons I'm okay with the title is that I wanted it to use the of structure.
Yes.
Because 3 is Revenge of the Sith, 6 is Return of the Jedi, and so 9 is Rise of the Skywalker.
Right.
Not quite as eloquent, I would say, as the other two titles. A little more specific. As the movie starts, there's only 2 Skywalkers alive, and neither one of them seem to be on the rise.
Right.
Now, I hope not to get into discussions about the previous film, but I hope this doesn't mean they plan on going back on Rey's parentage.
Well, and you and I, that's while we could talk about Last Jedi probably for 7 days straight, that's something that you and I are in agreement on, is I agree with the idea that Rey is nobody and that anyone can step up and be a powerful figure in the galaxy, the universe, the world, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so I hope that that's not what that is. It could be about Ben. He's done so much awful shit, though. Even if he gets redeemed, which is fine, that's part of what Star Wars is about. Even if he gets redeemed, it feels like it's not his rise, right?
Right. He already rose, pretty much.
Yeah, and has fallen, and you don't get to rise again. You just get to make up for it.
Right.
But
and I don't feel like it can be Leia, because I doubt there's enough footage to detail any sort of rise for her, and 2, that doesn't seem like a, even if the movie ends with Queen Leia, that's kind of a weird, or Leia the president of the galaxy or whatever.
I highly doubt they shot enough footage.
No, I don't see how that could be.
But Lando's flying the Falcon, Dave.
Lando is flying the Falcon and having a great time doing it. That is, I loved that, because one of the things I loved so much about Solo was that it was a fun movie.
Yes.
And that one shot in this teaser showed us that, well, this isn't going to be just a dour morbid affair. Look at these guys having fun. Chewie even raises his arm up as they go into hyperspace. There's fun to be had here, as well as all of the emotions that. I was crying after I watched this. There were tears in my eyes.
I got a little misty. I agree with you. One of the I've liked both of 7 and 8, but one of the problems I have with them is how dark they kind of are. Mm-hmm. And I've said this before. I don't watch Star Wars to cry, and I'm an old man. I cried everything.
Oh my gosh, I know, right?
But the original movies fill me with joy and fun, and even when they get dark, they fill me with joy and fun.
Right.
And I thought Force Awakens did a pretty good job of it, and they've both tried humor, and they've both used humor, to success and not success, depending on your preference. But there's just been this heaviness to them, and that comes from them being made by adult Star Wars fans growing up and watching the prequels and seeing how, from their point of view, how goofy they were, and wanting to make the movie that they wanted to see in '99, which is a serious Star Wars film, right? Yeah. And they've kind of forgotten that the originals are goofy as fuck and don't make a lot of sense when you think about the plot. Actually, Rian Johnson kind of took that to heart. But I want them to be fun. I don't want to bawl. I don't want to cry. I don't want to be put through the emotional ringer in that such a dark way. I want them to be fun adventure movies that my kids can watch one day.
Well, I want to, when this one is over, I want to cry, but I want it to be out of joy and relief, not out of abject misery.
Exactly. Like, I don't mind a little emotional happy tears. That's fine. But the first two have been at times oppressive.
Yes.
In their bleakness. And there is, and we've discussed this before, and this was a problem with the expanded universe as well, so I'm not going to nail Disney on this. This is a problem all around with Star Wars, is that any story that you tell that takes place after Return of the Jedi takes a little bit away from the victory at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yes. Because that was a happy ending.
Because they beat the bad guys, and then we get to Force Awakens, and man, shit's bad again. And our characters, who, let's face it, earned a life of peace, are back in a life of war. And again, those things are necessary to continue the story. It is called Star Wars, as we know, not Star Peace. But there is a little bit of, and just so people know, we're going to be spoiling stuff all day today. And I won't spoil it entirely, but that's one of the problems I had with the end of the new Halloween.
Right.
Was that it undercut the victory at the end of the movie for me.
Well, and I think that therein lies the problem with sequels, though.
It does.
Is you have to continue the conflict. You just have to, and that's why the idea of the Weiss, and Benioff, I don't know how to pronounce either of their names. I think
it's Weiss and Benioff.
Weiss and Benioff. That's why the idea of their story, and honestly, you know how I feel about The Last Jedi, but I could get really excited about Rian Johnson doing his own thing in the Star Wars universe, and I am.
Well, he was going to. Who knows if he is now? They've suspended all further films.
Yeah, and I think we'll be in kind of a waiting period until after Episode 9 and the streaming service and everything else. But
here's the thing. I'm okay with that. Like, people keep asking me, what happens if Star Wars goes away? I'm like, well, it's not going away.
No,
and they're like, well, what if they don't make any more movies? And I'm honestly okay. Like,
well, movies are a whole different thing now anyway. I mean, honestly, if we're moving to streaming and cable formats where we're getting stuff that's as high quality as Game of Thrones and Sharp Objects and all of these incredible shows.
Westworld, the production quality on Westworld is astounding.
So what happens is now, you go and you have the opportunity to go and see, say, the pilot or the premiere episode in a theater, and then you get 10 hours total of incredible cinematic content delivered to you at home. Like, Dave, why is that bad?
Dave, that's all I really want.
Right.
I don't, the movie's all grand, but we've talked about this. The movies are for everybody, The movies are for the general populace. It's the only movie my dad sees every year.
Right.
But I don't care. I want the stuff for me. And The Mandalorian looks like it's for me.
Yo, for sure.
And the Cassian Andor series sounds like it's for me.
Yeah.
And so, as selfish as that is, I'm okay with it just being a geeky thing. I'm okay with my books and my comics. And if you're going to give me live-action television shows and more animated shows, I'm actually finally getting into Resistance. It does get better. I know it sounds a cliche because Dave Filoni starts off every show with an annoying kid lead character that you know that you fucking hate, and eventually you'll learn to like him. And I'm not going to say I like the lead character of Resistance yet, but I don't hate him as much as I used to. And it's actually getting better. So I don't know what magic trick he pulls, but it just seems to be his formula.
Yeah, and I know I'll get into that one soon.
Yeah.
But the
animation's tough.
But
with the teaser, we've talked about this with many a product, and we'll get to this with the film we're talking about today. I'm going. I mean, it's neat to see. I'm not going to watch the teaser too many times.
No, I'm watching the teaser over and over again for sure, but I'm done at this point. Like, I don't care to see any more trailers. All I need is the release date.
I'll watch the full trailer once or twice, and then I won't read a fucking thing. The only thing I did, and we talked about this on the podcast, I did look at a lot of footage from Solo before I saw it, and that was a strategic play to get myself acclimated to our new hero, to the new guy playing Han. I wanted to walk into Solo comfortable with Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, and I did, and I've watched that movie now in total more than all the other new ones combined.
As have I.
I watch that movie all the fucking time.
And it's so much fun, and it's so great. And the last thing I wanted to say about, going forward with the Star Wars movies is, if you remember, Star Wars set the standard for theatrical debuts of television series with the Clone Wars movie.
They did. They did.
So
it bombed horribly.
It bombed horribly, but the world, it's because it was before its time.
It was, but it also, it doesn't help that almost every show, but starts off rocky. We're Buffy fans. We know how rocky Buffy kind of starts off in the first season, or how everyone always tells you, well, get through the first season of X show and it gets better. So to start off with their theatrical experience with basically 3 pasted together episodes of the very first episodes, they're not the best episodes of Clone Wars by a long shot. So it doesn't make it like a great film.
But there's no doubt in my mind, though, that at some point, whether it be through Fathom events or whatever venue, we're going to be seeing new Star Wars on theatrical screens for years to come.
Yeah, Fathom, I remember seeing the Game of Thrones season 2 last 2 episodes. They did that in theaters a while back through Fathom.
Yeah, they did Hard Home in the theater.
Oh, did they? Yeah, I saw Battle of Blackwater. I saw Battle of Blackwater.
Yeah, they had a few, and it's it's great because it keeps. I never want to lose the theatrical experience, but I don't think the idea of everything having to be a movie is a successful one going forward.
Well, I've told you this. If I could be handed a Star Wars project, I wouldn't want a movie.
Sure.
I'd want one of these shows.
I'd rather tell, a 10-plus hour ongoing story than just a movie.
Also, because of the things that I love about Star Wars are different, that a show would let me explore those things way more than a movie. There's a reason why the movies, at least the trilogy movies, they can't scratch our real hardcore itches. They just can't.
And that's the thing, is that's why guys like you and me love the expanded universe so much, is we really got into the characters via the expanded universe. And the movies just can't do. The movies can't tell you, you get a basic outline of who Han is as a person, but they don't really explore any further than that.
Well, and also they can get, and another thing we liked about Solo is how it gets in the nooks and crannies and how detailed it is and how literate it is to the world itself. And I understand I'm an oddity, but I said I think of myself as a Star Wars historian, and so this is all just information to me that I want to absorb.
Yes.
I want to know. I want a picture of the entire galaxy, of the entire world they're telling, and on a show, you're going to be able to tell, on The Mandalorian, hopefully it'll be good, but Favreau will be able to tell the story of this kind of lone gunslinger out there in the galaxy. But we've already seen IG-88 showing up. There's rumors of other characters. There's rumors of Rebels characters perhaps showing up. There's just rumors. But
yeah. And wherever they go, I'm in. I'm stoked about that show. But let's get back to because we've got
we've got more to talk about.
Yeah.
But to reiterate, Lando is flying the Falcon, and wearing yellow, which is pretty cool. He's got like a yellow shirt underneath.
He's basically got Donald Glover's yellow shirt on with
just
what looks to be a different cloak.
It would be amazing if it was like 3 sizes too small when he shows up. He's like, I tried to get back into my old shit.
He'd look like all of us today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wearing our Star Wars shirts.
Right.
And now, here's my question: are they on Jakku, Jeddah, Tatooine, or question mark?
Right. And that's what this is. What I want to do now is just run through the teaser and talk about each sequence that we got to see, which opens with Rey on yet another desert planet.
Yeah.
Although one that's a little more. There's a lot more to it. Lots of mountains and stuff.
Right. No crashed starships.
No crashed starships. And she is facing down Kylo Ren's completely re-outfitted. I can't remember what his ship is called because I'm not the good fan I used to be.
His ship's called the Silencer, the TIE Silencer.
But this one has a bunch of red.
And it's more like an interceptor. It's not. It doesn't look like the Silencer. It's a different shape. It's got the wings of an interceptor. It's the Silencer's wings.
Oh, it doesn't have the split. It doesn't have the split wings. See, I noticed. I was sitting here looking at all the red, which is interesting because we get the scene. And look, this is me projecting onto this teaser.
What else are we going to do?
That's exactly what we're going to do. The scene of Kylo Ren rebuilding his helmet, which to put that in the teaser is a big fuck you to Rian Johnson. And I know it's not.
No.
But it made me happy because if you've heard the stories of how that helmet was destroyed,
right?
Then you know that was one of Johnson's real shining moments on that movie set.
Right. Well, I like the fact that though it's going to have like red cracks in it.
Yes, he's repairing it with some kind of red material. But what's interesting is that this, which does actually, I just ran it back. It does have the split wings of the Silencer.
No, it has this, but the shape of them are more like an interceptor.
Yeah, but the red is just fantastic. Basically, I'm just looking at this thing and thinking, new toy, cool.
Of course. I'm wondering when the X-Wing miniatures game is going to put one out.
Right, exactly, which Arian will mock both of us thoroughly for, and that's fine.
Quick side note, dude, I feel like I pre-ordered that $200 Executor for Star Wars Armada. Like 2.5 foot long Super Star Destroyer.
Oh man, you're gonna
now I know what it feels like to be you.
You're gonna be so happy though.
It's so. I'm gonna come live in your sail barge.
Yeah,
I'm gonna rent a room in your sail barge.
Hey, side note for me, I recovered a good bit of money on that sail barge because I sold Yak Face for $200.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'm feeling
pretty. It's
good.
like a third of it.
It's almost half of it.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I was pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, so she's on a desert planet. She's playing chicken with what we assume is Kylo Ren's TIE Fighter.
Correct, and she does this beautiful, incredible Jedi backflip.
That they cut off halfway in between, so we don't see her.
Right, we don't know if she's jumping over it, if she's going to land on top of it, which probably would be a bad idea. But it's still a very exciting, dynamic, open, and it shows us Rey versus Kylo Ren, which is what this trilogy has been building up to.
Well, and it also shows, it has a couple of like Western hip shots, where she's kind of looking across and it has a very solo like shot of her thing. And if you notice in that kind of Sergio Leone showdown shot, she's got both her lightsaber and also the blaster Han gave her still on her hip. So a little bit of shout out to Han. So that's the intro.
And then we move on to a very excitingly different-looking planet with an A-Wing approaching. Really neat, lit-up city that I don't know. I have no idea what this is.
At first glance, it looks a little bit like, where's Jar Jar from? Uta.
Oh, Naboo?
Yeah, but it's not. It just for a brief glance it looked like underwater, but then I looked at it again. It's not.
Well, but you're right. It does have that sort of organic look to it.
In the kind of glowing lights in the distance type of thing.
Yeah.
But there's no domes or anything, and plus they would never ever do that.
Yeah, no. But I am comfortable going to cool new planet. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And then we move on to Kylo Ren, Furious Kylo Ren, on a very red forest.
It looks like it's probably on fire. Would be my guess. There's probably
there is a bunch of fire, but there's pink in the background. But my big thing here was who's he fighting, what's he doing? But he is alongside a First Order stormtrooper, so at this point, he's still a bad guy, whatever it is that's going on.
I mean, are we going on the assumption of what we've heard that it's been like a year?
I mean, I guess. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, that would make most sense. That would be JJ. Again, not to be bashing Rian Johnson because I like the movie, but that would be JJ keeping tradition of time actually passing.
Sure.
Between the films. And I think it would seem likely. I mean, how The Last Jedi ended with there being like 6 members of the Resistance living. It's probably going to take time to build up their forces a little bit.
Well, I think we had speculated back when we talked about The Last Jedi that I mean, 10 years wouldn't be a stretch, although it doesn't look like that's what's happened.
No.
But a bigger time jump really could have made sense. But yeah, we've got Kylo Ren in a pink flaming forest, brutally cutting down some sort of armored guy that is not armored in a way we've seen before. It's not recognizable.
No, but with the Resistance, he could still be Resistance because I mean they're a ragtag group, so you never know what they look like. They could be like Saw's partisans and the rebels all look different. It's
But very different. Again, it's cool.
It's a cool shot.
And I looked at it and I thought, new toy.
Well, and they also, what I liked about that was they give you kind of one moment of Rey badassery, and then they gave you kind of this little moment of Kylo badassery as well, as he's chopping that dude in half.
And then we move on to Kylo repairing his shattered helmet, which it's interesting to me that he is repairing his helmet instead of just having a new helmet. Like, there is definitely something to that about I'm keeping the scars here.
Yeah, the scars to reflect the face underneath as well.
Sure.
So yeah, there is something to be about that, and I do think that since it was Snoke that pushed him to getting rid of the helmet, it was Snoke's comments to him that made him destroy his helmet. That I could see him with Snoke being gone, going back to it. There can be, despite whatever we think about how it was handled in the last film, there could be legitimate character reasons why
he would want it
back.
And the other fun thing is this is Star Wars, so we may or may not find out what they are.
And that's fine.
Because
one of the number one reason may be that Rian Johnson doesn't think the helmet's very cool, and JJ, since he helped design it, does and wants it back. And we try to explain things in movie terms as much as we can, but JJ just probably likes the helmet.
And chances are there'll be a tie-in book that does explain it.
And the chances are I will buy it and read it, and it's
we know how this goes. We've been to this rodeo a few times.
One of the reasons I told you I'm excited to talk about the movie we're going to talk about next is because I can put on my Film Geek Critical hat a little bit more. Because when we talk Star Wars, I check that shit at the door. I mean, I get shit from my friends, like my movie friends. They're like, you weren't nearly critical enough of Solo, and I'm like, nope, I wasn't.
and that's for the listeners. We're going straight into a conversation about us next, but we'll be posting these out of order, so you can actually go to needlessthingspodcast.com and find our Us episode that came out prior to this.
Yeah,
probably, maybe.
Maybe.
One way or the other.
Listen, this I don't think we pointed out, this is an emergency broadcast that we're doing.
Yes, that's right.
Neither one of us knew we were waking up to this.
No, we already had plans to talk about Us today, and I sent a message, and I was like, what do we do about this?
Well, what I find funny is that when I was like so excited to get on your show and not talk Star Wars.
Right.
Just because I that's what I always talk about, and I always.
Well, there's so much more to you than just Star Wars, but that's usually what we're doing. So
no, it is, and on my website, I literally list myself as the resident Star Wars expert on the Needless Things podcast. So I'm completely okay with that,
and that's accurate. But we're going to see another side of Chad in a bit here. But let's wrap this up first. Our next
of course.
Our next shot is this is the shot, honestly, that made me sort of cheer a little bit more than anything else. It's Finn and Poe together in cool adventure gear, clearly having a cool adventure. Now, I will say this. I'm a little bummed that we didn't see Rose at all in this teaser.
Yes.
But just seeing Adventure Bros right here on screen, I loved this shot.
Yeah, I did. I was very happy with that. It looked like they were getting ready to on their way to fight Immortan Joe.
Well, that's because they're on that same desert planet.
It looks very Mad Maxy.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, and they both look kind of clean and fresh. Like it sounds silly, but like Finn doesn't look like he's been through the ravages of the last movie. It looks like there's been some time.
Yeah.
But seeing them together, and then I believe later in the trailer we see them on a speeder together with 3PO as well.
That also looks very Mad Maxy.
Yeah, and Jabba-like though as well. It looks a little bit like a Jabba skiff.
Yeah.
But that. So, and I think JJ has said the three of them will be together for a big chunk of the movie,
and that's what I want, because I love those characters. In Force Awakens, they so successfully gave us three awesome, exciting new characters.
Well, I distinctly remember when we recorded the Force Awakens commentary that one of your favorite moments was when Poe and Finn meet.
Yes. My gosh.
You're right, and I love that moment too. From the kind of the funny you need a pilot. I need a pilot.
Yeah.
To the pleased to meet you. While they're in the middle of combat. And then and at the same time, right after that, it has probably my favorite sequence in Force Awakens, honestly, which is Finn and Rey and the Falcon, and the joy of that scene of them running away from the TIE fighters and the Falcon, and the camaraderie it creates between the two of them. And so bringing the three of them together, which in the original film you get the three of them together for the second half of the movie, but then they're split up for the rest of the films. Except for a little bit in Jedi.
Yeah.
And then in these movies, while we think of them as our big three, Finn and Rey don't meet until Last Jedi. Or Rey and Poe don't meet until The Last Jedi.
Right.
And so the fact that the three of them are together on this planet, adventuring together, like, it's not traditionally as Star Warsy as people think. But I want that. I want that a lot. It sounds like a lot of fun. So anyway, go. So they're on the planet, and then zoom through. What else we got? We got Lando.
We've got BB-8 and some new adorable little droid that's a wheel and a funnel, basically.
Yeah, he looks like he's got the Mercury capsule from the Mercury program on his head.
That's accurate. And they brought it on stage at Celebration, and it rolled around, and it was cute. But what's important, and I don't think we've discussed the next shot yet. What is the next shot?
I don't know.
It's Lando flying the Falcon.
Oh, it's Lando flying the fucking Falcon. It's Lando and Chewie flying the Falcon.
Oh, I know, and they're having a great time. They're going to hyperspace, and then the title, The Saga Comes to an End, pops up, and then we go into exciting desert skiff racing, which I'm stoked about because I love Star Wars vehicle chases.
You gotta have one.
Yeah, and that's vehicles are the reason that I never fully switched to the 6-inch toy line. Like the 3 3/4 inch will always be my home. And we see cool racing explosions through the desert. We see speeder bikes, and we see, as you said, Finn, Poe, and C-3PO. Now,
I'm glad to see 3PO in on some action.
I was a little concerned because I think we saw that little tiny new droid a few times in leaks and nothing of 3PO, and I was a little concerned. Yeah. But in a fully golden 3PO for the first time ever.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the last time. Let's put him, send him out looking good.
Let's give him his nice upgrade. But yeah, this is exciting stuff.
That stuff looks like a lot of fun. But that doesn't. They said none of that matters when you have Lando flying the Falcon.
That's true.
He looks great. So, and then I forget what else we see.
We get an A-wing crashing onto, and I love the focus on A-wings in this. We see two different shots with A-wings, and I don't know if that's the same one or if it's just that's the ship they chose to represent this movie, but it's cool. I like it.
Because I believe they've represented the A-wing, if not on Resistance by now, but it has been confirmed in supplementary products and everything that the A-wing is still in the fleet, or a new version of the A-wing is in the fleet during the Resistance. So
yeah, well, they released a toy.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, they released a toy for Last Jedi, and one of the, I can't remember who it was, but one of the characters was an A-wing pilot. Like, that was a thing.
Oh, okay.
So we get an A-wing crashing onto what looks, it's really, really quick, but it looks like an artificial surface, so it's like a starship or something.
Well, in the background, almost looks like a Venerator-class Star Destroyer kind of behind him.
Yeah, it looks like it's a space battle.
Yeah, but the Star Destroyer, it's weird because the ship looks like a Republic-era Star Destroyer.
Yeah, but that one's so quick, there's not really much to take in. And then we go into a shot of what looks like Leia's hands holding the medallion from the end of Episode 4.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
That's my assumption.
Moment. No, that's a Yavin medallion. That's what got me. It's probably Han's, but someone on the live broadcast joked that maybe she's finally going to give it to Chewie.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be a nice moment? I have a feeling this movie's going to move a little too quickly for a scene like that.
I think it would be awesome if it is Han's, but she gives it to Chewie.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
So it would make sense in the story that she would be cherishing this medal. At the same time, it would be a nice little fan service for her to give it to Chewie.
Yeah, I would love to see that. And then we go directly to Rey and Leia sharing a hug on a forest planet.
Yeah, I think that's from the beginning. I think JJ said something about the forest planet being near the beginning of the film. It could be where they're hiding out, maybe.
Sure.
That was the only shot in the movie that gave me some concern, because we know that Carrie Fisher did not film anything for this film.
Right.
And that the footage is all being cobbled together from other things. Is that just a reworking of the shot at the end of Force Awakens?
I think it's possible, because it looked like that's immediately what it reminded me of. And you know what? But here's the thing with modern trailers, we don't even know if that's really going to be in the movie. And
it could be an outtake of that's just significantly different enough from the original. But I was just like, ooh, are they just reusing that? Because as much as I love Rogue One, I wish they could have found a way for some of the fighter pilots that we brought back from the dead to say different things, because they say very similar things to what they say in A New Hope.
Yeah.
In fact, it's almost as if they just took their lines from A New Hope and took outtakes and
I can't imagine. I can't imagine that's what happened.
And I love it, but I hope they found a way for her to. So I just hope they're not looping that little shot. And that's how we're going to do it, because that would be a little frustrating, because it was very recognizable to me, that moment.
Yeah, it to me as well. But
seeing Carrie, I care. I'm going to get emotional about that no matter what.
Next up, we have finally this is all the heroes shot. Man, we get Finn, Poe, Rey, 3PO, no R2 unfortunately, and I just realized I don't think we see R2 in the trailer at all.
We do not.
But BB-8, the little new guy, and Chewbacca, everybody together in one shot in what looks like Wales.
Yeah.
But just that shot. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it and then we get the title, right? Well, and let's not forget, we also get a little bit of new voiceover by Hamill.
Right. Okay, so that is Luke. Because he's doing his craggy Luke at the beginning. Yeah, I mean,
and we know Hamill's in the movie,
right?
And we know because of that he's going to be glowing blue. But as far as what his part is going to be, how much he's going to be in it, we have no idea. But then at the very end, is that Palpatine cackling?
Oh, for sure it is.
Yeah.
And look. Okay,
for a second I thought it was Snoke. But.
So we're on that last hero shot. They're walking. It looks like Wales or Island or something. Then the shot turns around, and we're seeing what looks like the focusing laser of a Death Star, or the whatever they call the array around where the laser comes out. It looks like that in a big black, awesome-looking ocean, and Rey is carrying what could be Wilro Hood's ice cream maker.
Could be.
It's possible. Let's tie that in if we can.
Sure,
but yeah, it's a cool
headcanon.
shot.
There it is. Done. Yeah.
And this is the part where Luke says, "We're always with you. Nobody's ever truly gone," or something along those lines.
Yeah,
and then
we get ever truly gone.
And then we get Palpatine's crazy cackle, which delights me. And I'm not worried, but I'm just like, well, how the fuck is that going to work?
You know what? I have a framed copy of the first issue of Dark Empire. From Dark Horse Comics.
Sure.
So I love that cover, and that comic's an important one to me. So bring it on. Let's see what happens.
Well, and that's my first thought. And look, these things never go quite how I think. But my first thought was, is it possible a Palpatine clone has returned from the outbound flight, which is canon in the Disney Star Wars story? Yeah,
it is. It is. Anything's possible. It wouldn't surprise me simply because of JJ's. Let's say he's running on nostalgia here, right? I mean, it's clear in Force Awakens, but he's. He wants to play with, I think, this is probably the last time he's going to do this. He wants to play with as many Star Wars toys as he can. And if they found a way to bring Palpatine in it in a small way, he gets to play with his Emperor figure.
Well, and here's the thing. After they showed this teaser at Celebration, Ian McDiarmid stepped on stage with a microphone and in the Palpatine voice said, "Roll it again."
No, you're fucking kidding me.
No, that happened.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That happened.
Okay, that's going to take me a minute to process.
I didn't realize you hadn't seen that.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
That's going to take me a second to process, because that means he's involved.
Right. And he looked fantastic, by the way.
Yeah. Well, he'll look worse in the movie. He'll look like a ball sack mated with a prune.
Well, but if he's a clone, will he?
Oh God, if they did the young clone
right.
thing. Clone, so he looks like he does in episode 1?
Yes.
I don't even want to think about that. That's too nuts. That's too much for my brain to handle right now.
I didn't know. I'm so happy I got to tell you that.
No, I didn't even know. That's amazing.
You gotta go back and watch it. It's worth it just for how happy he is to be there.
Oh, no, it's awesome. And prequel bashing that people do, and, we're not ones that necessarily do that, but he's one that really hold his own in those movies.
Oh yeah, he is easily pointed to as a high point of all three of those.
Him and Ewan McGregor are the ones that kind of managed to rise above the let's just say awkward dialogue they're given.
It's why when there's discussion of an Obi-Wan solo anything, Obi-Wan standalone anything.
Yeah.
Even people who hate the prequels are like, oh well, I'd love to see Ewan McGregor do that again.
Yes, no, and Ewan McGregor would like to do it again.
Right.
So okay, that's cool. And then we get to the title.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. It's every Star Wars title since Phantom Menace has annoyed me, except for Revenge of the Sith. And then you get used to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't even trip me up to say the Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. It doesn't even. I don't even think about it when I say the phrases.
Yeah.
So, and I thought Phantom Menace was an okay title. I thought Attack of the Clones was a stupid title. I'm used to it now. Revenge of the Sith. I was in the room at Comic-Con when they announced the title for Revenge of the Sith,
and that's a great fucking title.
And that's a great title. It's a meta title as well,
because of Revenge of the Jedi.
And and so that's great. So Rise of the Skywalker, it is interesting that it's the only title that has a character name in it, where where it makes it very specific, using the word Skywalker.
Right.
Not Jedi, not Sith, but Skywalker. I'm wondering if there's some kind of parallel to the idea that the Skywalkers are not Jedi or Sith. It's Return of the Jedi and Revenge of the Sith and Rise of the Skywalker.
Our friend, well, that's what's interesting. It's the Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, there's no the.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, but our friend, our head of research, Ryan Schweck, has a theory that he shared. I'm not going to share it here because it's his to share, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this more sooner than later. But it's an interesting idea.
You, me, and Ryan talking Star Wars will never happen again.
I can't imagine. But we got to wrap this thing up, Chad, because we've got another conversation to have. So
we do, and I've been excited for it. So
final thoughts.
I think I'm going to see this movie.
Yeah, I guess I am. I suppose so.
I think I'm going to see this movie, and hopefully they don't blow it. But I will say this, and people who listen a lot, or how much Star Wars means to me, if they do, I'll survive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing is, even if this isn't good, I still have my 40 years of fandom and plenty of other stuff.
And also be like, yeah, but I can't wait to see what happens next season on The Mandalorian.
Yeah, exactly. So,
it's like fine. It's all just part of the tapestry to me. But of course, I hope it's awesome.
And that's at this point, I have joy and I have hope from.
And it looks cool. It looks cool.
All right, we're wrapping it up. And I will say for the listeners, real quick, I think this actually will post before us, so keep an eye out for the Us cast as well. All right.
Yeah, it's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, if you're listening to this now and haven't seen Us, see Us before you listen to us, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're going to spoil the fuck out of it.
Thanks, Chad.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Needless Things podcast. You're the best. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Downcast, or in the ears of a Trader Vic's employee. Love you. Mean it.